After seeing the trailers for The Lost City, I assumed this would be a fun time, but man, this is probably one of the best comedies I have seen in the last 3 years, and it is an absolute delight. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing The Lost City, starring the likes of Channing Tatum, Brad Pitt, Daniel Radcliffe, Sandra Bullock, and of course it's directed by the Nee brothers, who I've never seen anything from them before, but they are doing the brand new He-Man film for Netflix, and after this, I'm sold on what they could do next. Lost City, it follows a reclusive romance novelist on a book tour with her cover model who gets swept up in a kidnapping attempt that lands them both in a cutthroat jungle adventure to try and find a lost city. This is a movie that I've kind of just seen a lot of behind the scenes stuff for, and then once the trailer dropped, it looked like a lot of fun. But it may have shown all the great parts. Thankfully it didn't, and there's actually a lot of great surprises in here, and I'm very excited to be discussing this movie because I think this is the best comedy of 2022 so far, and it possibly might be the best one for the entire year. It's gonna have some big shoes to fill because when it comes to comedies, my biggest thing I can say is if it makes you laugh and entertain you, you can pretty much forgive it for any other issues that you have with it, because this is not a perfect movie, but it is a perfect time at the movies, and it is a damn good one at that. Speaking about movies, if you love talking movies, you are really much in the right place. Make sure to leave your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you looking forward to this movie? Did you get to check it out early? Let's discuss it all down there. As well, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you are up to date on all sorts of movie and TV content, because I love talking all that stuff. I am a geek, and I'm sure if you're here, you're probably also one as well. Starting with my pros, one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised by was very much the humor of this all. Yes, it's dumb fun, but in a sense, it's very clever, and at the same time, it's just hilarious. I sat there just losing my shit, and a lot of that is due to the Nee brothers' direction and writing in here, going for a tone that is very specific for what it is, and in general a genre action adventure comedy that I feel like we really do not get a lot of. Really much, I feel like the last great action adventure comedy that you could really say in the same vein of having a romance to it was probably Romancing the Stones. And even before that, like, we've had some romantic comedies over the last few years that are very successful in some ways, but always fall strain to certain issues or certain things. But The Lost City finds its niche and buries and goes along with it. Alongside that niche, one of the things that I really did like about it was the adventure we were going on. The actual ending to this adventure and what they were going on and what they are searching out for, I thought was actually very clever and different than what we have seen before, and actually feels a little bit more realistic in its attempt to the story that it was trying to tell. And plus, the metaphor and themes in it are actually pretty important when it speaks about grieving and loss and how we are with our loved ones. It really does go down in the Nee brothers' direction, and I just think they have this style that is, again, maybe something you've seen before, but it just carries this tone, and for an hour and 52-minute movie, it flew by. By the time we got to the third act, I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh my god, the movie's almost over. Feels like I've only been watching this for 45 minutes and I didn't want it to end. That's how you know when you're entertained by a movie, is when it ends and you're like, 1, I want to see that again, but 2, I wish it was a little bit longer, or even 3, can we get a damn sequel? This should be a franchise. A lot of that also goes to the performances. Oh my god, Sandra, darling, you're so amazing in this. I love when she does roles like this, and something about Sandra is that she's great at physical comedy as well as just like her line delivery. She's spot on all sorts of those things, and she is wonderful in here, playing more of the straight edge, but a lot of her lines, she has one in particular that we've seen in the trailer where she's taking the leeches off Channing Tatum. But there's more to that scene than you actually did see in the trailer, and it's perfect. It's so funny. It's just one of the many scenes that she's great at doing that type of banter, and again, that physical comedy with either her face or just in general, again, her line delivery. As well as Channing Tatum proves once again why he is such a great actor to watch out for. Whether it's dramatic or comedy, this guy can do both, and I missed him in comedies. I love the 21 and 22 Jump Street movies, and he brings that same vein of humor, that line delivery that he had that was so clever and on the dot, but in a nuance that is special to the heart of this movie, and not just the same dumb character that he was playing in there. It has tidbits of there But for me, it was a relatable nuance that I actually felt like I could see myself in Channing Tatum, a person who is very misunderstood in a sense, and maybe not everyone understands him, but when you start to kind of peel back the layers, there's a lot more to them, and I loved what Channing Tatum was able to do with this role. And again, their chemistry, Sandra Bullock and him, at first is rocky, and it's supposed to be, but as the movie goes on, it gets so special and heartfelt, and I just really loved this movie. I found it to be so daring. I can discuss this because it was shown in the trailer and on the poster, and that is Brad Pitt. Now, Brad Pitt is very much more in an extended cameo in this and absolutely has some of the best 15 minutes of this movie. But for me, I will say, I do wish they kind of kept him a secret. I think the humor and in general, those scenes would have been an even better surprise that first time seeing the film. Even Daniel Radcliffe, while I think, we'll talk about this in my cons, while I think his villain is very underdeveloped, he's great in the role. And the same thing goes for Divine Randolph and Patty Harrison, who also held their own. Again, this is an action-adventure movie that, again, has a decent story to it all, but it is the humor, the heart, and all sorts of those things that really carry this movie to that next level and want me to have more from it. But like most comedies and most action adventures, there could be some issues that may get in the way for some, because for me, I love this type of humor, and humor is very subjective. And comedy, like I mentioned at the start, you can do everything wrong, but if you're making me laugh and entertained, I'm definitely going to be on your side, and for me, The Lost City had me there. But let's move over to my cons, where I do think some people might have some issues. Some of the humor is a little bit dumb, and I know not everyone loves dumb humor, but for me, I do, and it makes me laugh, and I was very entertained by that. As well as the character development. In general, this is very much kind of one of the romantic novels that Sandra Bullock's character would write. And almost in every single avenue and cliche, it would have those elements, and I enjoyed it for kind of the satire it was having on those elements. But I can also say is that I do wish there was a little bit more depth to certain scenes, and I think the depth that was there was due to the Nee brothers' direction, and I think a lot of that was held back, though, from the writing standpoint. I will also say there is one character in here, her assistant, that played by Divine Randolph, who I thought was hilarious in her scenes, but I never felt like her scenes were much needed, and I feel like if you would have cut out maybe one or two, you still could have left the other ones. It would have made it for a little bit more of a fleshed out pacing, because it did slow down in those one increments. Even if it was like 3 to 5 minute scenes, it was the one moment where I was like, okay, let's get back to Sandra and Channing, because that's like what I was very much invested in. And I can kind of say the same thing about Daniel Radcliffe, because his character is very underdeveloped, and while he's good in the role, his villainous take I thought was a little bit, like, the point of it was a little bit too over the top for the story. But again, there's a thing and a satire to look at the romantic novels that many people read and how over the top some of the villains are. So I do understand what they were trying to go for there. It didn't fully work out for me, but still, that's such a minor nitpick for how much fun I had during this movie. This is one of the best comedies I've watched in a while, just for in general the amount of laughs and entertainment you can get in this movie. I'm definitely going to go see it again this weekend, and I hope a lot of you guys do as well. Because like I said, oh my god, The Lost City didn't just have me laughing, smiling, but it had me losing my shit. Hands down, it is one of my favorite comedies I've seen in such a while, and I need more Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock now. Brad Pitt was amazing. I wish he was in it more, but his extended cameo was a lot of fun, even if I wish it was more of a surprise. This is a perfect adventure movie for all, with big surprises, a lot of fun, and some minor issues here and there, but you'll be laughing too much that you'll probably not even notice all that. So with all that said, I'm going to give The Lost City a B+. Can't wait to watch this one again. I am so excited, and I hope you guys do get to check it out as well. So thank you again so much, guys, for watching this. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early, as well as get all the latest movie news over there. But of course, until next time, stay classy.